Okay. Hello, how are you? Wherever you are, how do you do? In a while that I've done these videos, so I just want to quickly do this. I know it's going to help someone. IGCSE exams have started already. Today is 18th of April. So in the next 2 weeks, paper one geography will be done. That's 3rd of May precisely. So, and I think 10 days after paper two, then another few days after paper four. So this is a revision video to help somebody, do well, to help somebody to get it right with IGCSE Geography 0460. So now, this is a 2019 paper 1-3. So let's just revise it together. So this is a graph, a bar graph. And normally by now, you understand the ways they test questions in IGCSE. They will test you on graph. They will test you on images. They will test you on what you know. They will bring questions from those images, from those graphs, which are very easy. Just look into the graph, look into the images, look into the pictures, and describe and answer 1 mark question, 2 mark questions, whatever the case may be. Then the 4 mark questions be based on what you've read, what you know. So as we are going to see some of them. So let's just start this. So the first question here is, what does population density measure? Well, this is like telling you to define population density. So it measures the number of people per square kilometer. In other words, how much people are found in a unit area of land per square kilometer. That is the unit. So how much people are found per unit area of land and all of that. So it's a 1 mark question. So if you say it measures the number of people per square kilometer, you are very fine. Now, name the continent with an increase in population density of over 50 per kilometer square between 1950 and 2000. Now, you have to look into this graph and tell. So 1950, this is the key, 2000 this is the key. If you look at it, Asia has about 32%, 32 people per square kilometer. And in 2000, which is this, they already have like 85. So I think the answer might be Asia. But before that, let's check. Is there another one that has something close to? This is Africa. No. This is North America. No. This is South America. No. This is Europe. No. So the answer is Asia. 1 mark. So it's from here you get it. Just look at it. So you write Asia here. Let me try and write. I try to always make my video as short as possible. But all the same, I'll write in some places, some I won't write. Okay. Okay, let's just move on. Let me not waste time. If you want to get that definition, just replay the video. Okay. Oh, so a predicted decrease in population density between 2000 and 20. So a predicted decrease between 2000 and 20. So how can we tell a decrease? This is a decrease here. All of these are increase because once this bar is higher than this bar, it's an increase. But here you can see that this bar is lower than this bar. So the answer is Europe. Still one more question. So this is Europe. Now, part of Australasia and North America are underpopulated. Explain why some areas are underpopulated. Now, this question is not referring you to the graph. It's asking you to answer from your head, from what you've read, from what you know. I will suggest some of the answers now, and I will show you the masking because I saw something in the masking which I think you need to understand some of the things they want you to say in this kind of. Now, so what are the reasons for underpopulation? Normally, we talk about push factors like war, natural disasters, and all of that. Maybe lack of jobs. Well, those are not wrong, but that is not all they want to hear from this question. So number one, they want to talk about maybe there's more resources than the people. More resources than the people, because this is underpopulation. So when you talk about underpopulation is when the resources are more than the available people. Underpopulation does not necessarily mean that the population is small. It does not necessarily, when you say the population is small, that word small is relative. It should be relative. So underpopulation is talking about relationship with the resources. I live in Nigeria. I'm a Nigerian. In Nigeria, there is overpopulation. And Nigeria is around 210 million. Now, a country like America, US, United States of America, is less overpopulated than Nigeria. America is about 300 million people, but the overpopulation in America is not as much as that of Nigeria, even though the figure is higher. So why is it like that? It's because of the resources. The resources in America, is more than that of Nigeria. So now look at this. Look at the answers they want you to write. Now look at here. There are relatively few people living there. Uninhabitable, few settlements. Reasons, e.g., remote extreme climate. Now look at here. 1 marks. What this means is that these reasons, which I know is something that readily come to the head of most of the students, they want you to write it, just only 1 mark should be given for that. So other reasons should be related to resources. Large amount of resources, surplus resources, or talking about relatively few people. Few people in the sense that people are not many. Uninhabitable, few settlements. But here, so if you talk about natural disaster, talk about war, talk about, let me see, talk about low job opportunities, talk about other reasons for underpopulation, it is just going to be 1 mark. So I want you to just let it register in your head that when you talk about underpopulation or overpopulation, they want you to make references to resources. So in your description or your explanation, make references to resources. So any 3 you give here, you are fine. Okay, so let's just run. Describe the impact of overpopulation on a country. I believe this is very straightforward and very clear. They want you to talk about the effects of overpopulation. So some of them, as we see in that mark scheme. Number 1, the effect can be positive, it can be negative. It's very nice when they say effects or impacts. They didn't specify that it should be negative or it should be positive. But some other times, they might specify by saying that they want you to specifically talk about the negative impact or the positive impact. So in this case, try and talk about anyone. So for me, I will start by saying in an overpopulated society, there could be low unemployment, low rate, I mean, low rate of employment, not unemployment. That is a negative. So low rate of employment, which increase the crime rate as people need to survive. Now, I think my answer here was 2 marks because I talk about low rate of employment and I've also talked about crime rate. So crime rate is high in such society. So I can doubt that. Let me talk about something positive. So one positive thing I can say is that overpopulated societies can be heterogeneous. Heterogeneous. What does heterogeneous means? It means that many culture, many people of different backgrounds, which increases the diversity. Overpopulated societies can be heterogeneous. Heterogeneous means that, like I said earlier, multicultural, multicultural society. So, which increases the diversity of the area. Then another thing is that government revenue are often increased. Government revenue increases, and meaning, well, the question said describe. They didn't ask you to explain, but all the same, if you have listed all your points, I'm not. You'll be fine still, but just try and let your point make sense. Let there be sense in what you are writing, meaning they are able to make provisions for basic services. Now, when you say government revenue increases, how? Government revenue through taxes, because more people are paying tax since it's an overpopulated society. So through taxes increases, meaning they're able to make provisions for basic services. There are many more. Now, let me switch again and talk about negative. So which other negative can we talk about? There are many. I believe this is easy. So let me know, because of time, let me know right and just talk about it. Traffic congestion. That's the negative one. There are too many cars on the road. So that will lead to traffic congestion. And what are the problem of traffic congestions? People get late to work, road rage, people get angry on the road, shout at each other on the road. The cars can develop overheating. So cost of maintenance of the car increases. These are things you can link to the traffic congestions. So many people get late to work, so loss of productive time. These are some of the answers you can link to traffic congestion. Then talk about air pollution, due to exhaust from vehicles and all of that. As people are in the traffic, inhaling fumes, diseases can come up and all of that. So there are so many you can write, and you'll be very fine. So let's just run to other ones. Now, study figure 1.2 is which is a photograph of an area which is rated. Explain how physical factors have influenced population density and distribution in the area shown in figure 1.2. So here, they want you to check the inset and use it to answer the question. So here is the inset. So everything answer you must write must relate to this inset because they say according to figure 1.2. Don't be tempted to write from your head, please. It's a 3-mark question. So don't be tempted to write from your head. Just write according to this. So according to this, why is a place underpopulated? Let me get the question clearly. So how physical factors? Now they want you to talk only about the physical factors. This picture, as you can see, how did it affect the population density? So definitely it has reduced the population density because the population density here is low. It's low. So why? Number one, as we can see, the place is mountainous. Physical factors. So we are talking only about physical factors. The place is mountainous. When a place is mountainous like this, it's very difficult to live. Number one is rugged topography. And what does that mean? It means that the terrain is not smooth to build houses. Rugged topography. There you can see. Topography means the shape of the land, the shape of the landform, and the height as well. So rugged topography, difficult to build how difficult to build houses, houses and roads. Difficult to build houses, difficult to build roads. Just imagine all this area, people can't live there. If people are living there, very few people can live there. Very few. The another thing is that the climate is going to be very cold. The climate of the mountainous, of the hilly areas will be cold. Use the word very cold. So it's going to be very cold. That is another reason. Then what else can we say? As you can see from the picture, most of the where we have houses are on the valleys, valley parts, because that is where they can build houses. That's where you have flat lands and all of that. So another answer you can bring out of here is, talk about difficult to build houses, difficult to build roads. The climate of the area is very cold. Difficult to practice farming. These are the things that will encourage people to come and live there. If the weather is very cold, very extreme, and if it is difficult to practice farming, how do you survive? If it's difficult to build roads, now look at it. If somebody is living here now, and how do you connect from here to here? So this many people will not want to live here. So let's go back to the question. So let me check the math scheme and see if something I didn't say are there. valley attracted settlement, easy to build on. So most of the houses are on the valleys. Deep mountainous area are sparsely populated, difficult to build on. Flat land has easy access, main road. Area have poor access, few roads. Low flat land, easy to farm, fertile soil. So it's easier to farm on the flat land, but not easy to farm on the mountainous areas. Okay. Low flat valleys close to river. Yes, I did mention rivers. So flat areas are closer to rivers. So people need water to survive, water supply. So mountainous areas are far from it. Low temperature results in sparse population. So that's cold weather, which I talked about. Okay. So I believe that has opened it further. Now, explain why many areas with good transport networks are densely populated. Geography is common sense. And geography is, for somebody that can think, is not going to have problem at all. Even if you are not a geography student, I believe you can answer this question. Why do many areas with good transport network? Why do we need roads? Why do we travel? Why are roads built? Of course, to access markets or purchase things. We need, of course, we need roads to go to market and to go to work. So now this question says, why is it that when you have it, there will be a dense population? So let me link it, let me phrase it properly. That means it is easier to go to work and come back. Raw materials are easily moved to industries from anywhere, maybe from, maybe when you ship in raw materials, you can easily transport them to your site where you need them. Then farm products are easily moved or transported to the city or to where they are needed. Of course, people need to eat. So if food is easily moved from where they are, from the farm, you know, that will encourage people to stay. Nobody will stay where it's difficult to buy food, where it's so difficult to access food. Very few people will live from the farm. What else? There are many other points you can say. Is it is easier to access services like hospitals. Just imagine you are sick, there's an emergency, you need to go, you need to get to the hospital on time, and the road is good, transportation is okay, and there's in less than 15 minutes, you're already in the hospital, and the doctors are able to save you. Obviously, that will encourage people to live there. But in a situation whereby there is an emergency and you could not even get a vehicle in 30 minutes, and the situation gets worse, and by the time they are getting to the hospital, maybe the situation has gone out of hand. So people might choose to move away from such an area to where they know that if they need anything, they can easily get it. Like hospitals, entertainment. Imagine during the festive periods, many people want to visit different malls, entertainment, cinemas, and all of that. And it's easy. There is no complication to it. That will encourage people you know, to want to stay around that kind of area. Schools, that's another service necessary. Schools, you know, you need to go to school. Children need to go to school. And is it easy for me to bring them to school and bring them back? So good transport has connection with so many things. And that is why most densely populated areas like cities, conurbations, megalopolis, if you look at those places, the road network there is massive. In developed countries, massive. You can see about different layers of roads. Apart from that, the multimodality, you know what that means? Other means of transport. There is water transport, there is crane, there is railway, there is train, fast jet, and all of that. One of the reasons why those places are growing is because of those transport networks. Okay, so explain the causes of an example of international migration you have studied. Causes. This kind of question, I'm not sure there's anybody in the world who will not have an experience to write from. Personally, you may not have traveled, but maybe you have relatives. You should have relatives that have traveled, or neighbors that have traveled, or you have read from CNN. You've read a lot about, you've read a lot about, movements here and there. So as a Nigerian, this is something so real. So I would say Nigeria to UK or Nigeria to any European country. There is a concept in Nigeria now called Japa. Japa. If you're in Nigeria, you know what that means. If you're not in Nigeria, you can just Google it. I'm very sure that word will exist now on Google. It simply means that people are leaving Nigeria en masse. And most of the people living are skilled worker. So Nigeria to, let me say, United Kingdom. It could be Nigeria to Canada. Let me use Canada. I think that one is even very, a lot of people have been traveling to Canada and Nigeria now. So what are the causes? Now, before I go into that, let me just do a little introduction. One of the introduction is that Nigeria, a country in West Africa, being the most populated Black nation, has been experiencing a lot of international emigration lately. All of these are just introduction. There is no mark for it, but it helps your point. If you do this, you do into this case study. So I just want to go into the point now. But this one will fetch me point to area to Canada. That's one mark. But this one I just did. It's just an introduction. So now I will say that Because the question says cause of an example of international migration. Cause. So it's only cause. Don't write effects. Don't write problems. Problems is the same thing as effect. Problem is a negative effect, while benefit is a positive effect. So don't write problem. Focus on the causes, reasons. Why are they leaving? That is what they're asking you. So don't feel like, but I don't have enough reasons. So I now add some effect to it. No, it's only those reasons they will mark. If it is one, that's 1/6 for you. So try and think more. So, okay. So lately, reasons include the following. So I will mix it up. I will bring some reasons from Nigeria angle and some reasons from America, from Canada angle. So from Nigeria angle, I will talk about lack of job opportunity. There is an LEDC, and as a country that is overpopulated, not everybody gets lack of opportunity, especially for some high skill workers. High skill workers like engineers, doctor. So many, many have chosen to relocate to Canada, where there are opportunities for them. Let me say this. This is a case study, so you can be a bit freestyle. So I want to just let me add something little here. Like before I say many have chosen, I can just say that getting a job in Nigeria can be very manipulative if you don't know somebody, if you do not know a big personality. This is not about destroying Nigeria, but it's about saying what is true. I believe everybody knows this. Like a politician that can help you. So that is a truth about getting jobs. So some very good jobs, like working for federal government and all of that. If you don't know a particular person that can help you, you won't get it. So sorry, and that's the reality. So that is one. Another reason is lack of provision of basic infrastructure or basic services. basic services like good care, basic education, etc. So you can just explain a little more. Is it that there are no schools in Nigeria? All you are saying is that is it that there are no hospitals? Obviously, that's not what I'm saying. But we all know that the doctor-patient ratio is very high. It's very high. Very high. Imagine, I think about one doctor to about 7,000 patients. In Southwest, about one doctor to 3,500. In the North, about one doctor to 18,000. So by the time you find the average, it's about one doctor to like 9,000 patients. So in that kind of situation, if you have money to relocate, you want to relocate. Very high. Also, the schools are poorly funded with teachers not being motivated enough, to want to work. So this is just an example of so many issues with the hospital, with the schools. I don't want to spend all the time on that, but you can read more, you can make it, you can add more flesh to it. So another reason is insecurity. Nigeria has become insecure lately. Not, it has always been secure anyway, but in the last 8 years, it has been very insecure, only very insecure. With kidnappings, banditry. This is a case study. So mention all these things. These are reasons people are running away from Nigeria. Banditry, terrorism, on the increase. So many have relocated to avoid such fate happening to them. Now, let me talk about Canada. I've mentioned points, since Nigeria is where they are coming from. So most of the things we are going to mention in Nigeria will be, things that are making them leave, since it's where they are living. So I've talked about security, talked about poor services, talked about lack of job opportunities, for many of the high schools. So I've mentioned that's three clear reasons. Now, in Canada, Canada has lots of job opportunity lately. You know, a country with lot job opportunity lately and have regularly been encouraging immigrants. So that's another reason. Because if where you are going to, they are not encouraging you to come there, you can't go there too. So they have regularly been encouraging immigrants from all over the world. So they've been encouraging immigrants through their different, you know, they have different programs and all of that. Then another reason might be there are opportunities of, of high skilled profession more in Canada than Nigeria. So they too, they've had a lot of, you know, high skilled opportunities over there that is encouraging people to want to go there. So I think this is just this. If you write just this, I believe it's good for you. This is good enough. But to add more points, problem about that. Okay, thank you so much. I'm trying. I don't. I hope this video is not very long. So watch out for some other videos I will do later on other aspects of paper one, paper two, and paper four. Bye bye.